The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Welcome to Cape Breton Connects. I'm your host, Cecil Clark, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's show in the heart of a thriving port community of Sydney. I'm joined by the CEO of the Port of Sydney, and Paul Kerrigan. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cecil.
What an exciting place to work. This place is just a beehive of energy and activity.
We love it. The fall season is an exciting season. Many passengers. A lot of work to do, but we truly enjoy it.
So in terms of numbers, how have you seen the number of passengers and the number of cruise visits increase over the last few years?
Well, I've been here for 11 years, and 11 years ago we were happy with 40,000 passengers, 50,000. We're now upwards of 150 plus, 150 plus thousand passengers, and it's very exciting. It's the growth is phenomenal, and the results are very good. Cruise lines really love coming to Sydney.
So it's not something you do in isolation. So I know you're the Vice President of the North Atlantic Ports Association. You work in concert with all the other ports logistically. That's got to be a very busy job behind the scenes that people never think of or see probably.
Well, yes, operations of a port is a busy job. We have a fantastic staff here. Our staff has been here, most of them here over 5 years, 6 years plus. And we work hard, we know what we're doing. We like to ensure that the people are walking by you, and so we like to make sure that we're ready for the season. So it all starts in January to get ready for our first cruise in April. So logistically, there's a lot of work to do, but seasoned professionals, and we enjoy it.
Well, look, I must say, as part of that whole evolution and growth of the port, it means a lot of strong relationships, as we mentioned, not only with industry, but with government. I'm sure the international but national Transport Canada criteria is something you have to work on a daily basis to keep this place safe, secure, and occupational health and safety standards met.
Yes, we're federally regulated. The port, of course, Transport Canada advises on all the rules and regulations when a foreign flag vessel comes to our port. We have to strictly follow that, so it's no different than an airport.
So what we have is, with all that Transport Canada requirements and regulations that are in place, you've also expanded capacity with Liberty Pier, the second berth that's here. You also have a helipad. That is also logistical things that people may not see that take a lot of work behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Transport Canada is involved every step of the way. The helipad, we had to get the proper permissions to have that helipad here. The new Liberty Pier is something that has brought more people to our dock, more vessels to our dock, and we've been very busy year-round with Liberty Pier as well as the Sydney terminal here.
So we know, like today, there's over 5,000 passengers here, one ship. You've had many, and we'll talk more in the program about what happens. But as a core team, people see all these thousands and tens of thousands, 150,000 people in a year. What would your core team look like for operations within the Port of Sydney?
Well, the core team consists of a manager of cruise. Mm-hmm. We also have a manager of operations and dockside manager. We have a business development manager, and we also have of course, our operational staff, our maintenance and our cleaning staff. So everyone works as a team. We work closely with government agencies and anyone who's involved, such as volunteers. Mm-hmm. Volunteers is a big part of it. We have our cruise volunteers that are on site today that will help the public find their way throughout the community and to whatever their destination is.
Yeah. So as all of this activity, the energy, but you also link it to the broader community. Can you explain how you work with industry and they respond to what the community needs to be for cruise passengers when they step foot? If they're not on an excursion, going someplace else, if they're walking by foot, how does that relationship work, and how do you work with the community to make improvements?
Well, you'll probably recall that when we went to Seattle, and you were with us at the time, talking to Holland America, you had asked the question, what can the Cape Breton Regional Municipality do to make it better for passengers? And the biggest thing they said was create a better downtown atmosphere. And of course, over the years that has transpired. Right now they're working on a new downtown, renewed downtown. Construction should end hopefully by the end of next year. And it's important to work with the Downtown Association. We work with our partners, Iona Village, all of the excursions, Bedeck, Miners Museum, all of those excursions that passengers go to. It's important to work closely with them so they can provide satisfaction.
So with your core team, the cruise season being only a portion of the year, but an intense amount of activity and a lot of energy and drive, but I'm taking from our discussion, year-round it's busy. It's not just what you see here today.
Exactly. People may think that, okay, we can twiddle our thumbs and wait until April, but we can't do that. There's a lot of budgeting to prepare. There's a lot of back and forth. Our manager of cruise travels quite a bit. There's a lot of moving parts, shall we say, to get this working right.
Well, thanks for joining us, Paul, and I look forward to sharing more with our viewers as we go into the other segments for today's show on Cape Breton Connects here on Eastlink Community TV.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Nicole McCauley. She's the manager of cruise operations here at the Port of Sydney. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Cecil.
So we've got like 5,000 passengers coming and going around here. This is a massive amount of people for just one ship. There was 2 ships yesterday. There's been days with 3 ships. Can you give our viewers a sense of what happens? How do you make this all come together as the manager of cruise?
Sure. So yeah, it's a perfect day today. We have about 5,000 people on this ship. So we're in the peak of our cruise season right now. So we're so happy to welcome the ships into our port here in Sydney. And so many are going on excursions today. So they're visiting places like the Fortress of Louisbourg, the Highland Village, Miners Museum, the village of Bedeck, and of course downtown Sydney. So there's a really great mix of offerings that we have for our cruise ship passengers. But when they're here, we have an incredible dockside experience. And there are very few ports in the world that welcome guests in the way that the Port of Sydney does. So Cape Bretoners should be really proud of that. So when you get off a ship in Sydney, you're greeted by about 20 retail shops, a craft market that is full of local crafters and artisans, and of course by the world's largest fiddle, Flavor on the Water restaurant. So really there's so much to do just here at the cruise pavilion.
So when people come, before they come, you have to have a relationship with every cruise line and the management of those ships when they come in. So that's a lot of work to prepare and to promote and to line all of from the crafters to the tour guides. Can you explain how some of that relationship goes?
Sure. So that is personally my job. So I work directly with the cruise lines. They are our client. So I meet often with their head offices to book the ships and make sure that the ship is suitable to come to Sydney and how we can work. So we're usually booking 2 to 3 years in advance so right now I'm working hard on 2025 and just starting 2026. So that is a little bit of how we get the cruise ships to come here is really that one-on-one relationship with the itinerary planners and the shore excursion managers and the deployment department of the cruise lines. So that all happens, and we do that at the Port of Sydney as part of Cruise Atlantic Canada. So we have an association that's made up of the 5 partner ports in Atlantic Canada, and then we're under a larger umbrella of Cruise Canada New England. So the majority of our cruises are coming in on a Canada New England itinerary. So they're coming from Boston or New York, they're visiting Maine, they're coming to Atlantic Canada, and then they're visiting our friends in the St. Lawrence. So really, we all work together as a destination to promote that itinerary. So we make it really easy for the cruise lines to work with this part of the world.
So this is not just a job, it's a career that you clearly have a passion for, because you've got to be in the people business to do this job.
You sure do, and it starts, so you're working, you're working on an international scale when you're working with cruise lines, both North American based, European, based cruise lines as well, and then we are so focused on the local level. So you really have to maintain all levels of communication and relationship building. So yeah, you definitely have to love people.
Yeah, and we're going to be visiting the downtown to see some of the improvements. You've referenced about people on the walking excursion. You've talked about the growth, but even in the last few years, have you noticed the number of people with retail and services here growing as well?
Yes, it's huge. We have a waiting list for the retail demand here. So we're constantly building new kiosks and trying to fit in new product because people see it as a happening place that they want their business to be a part of. And it's such a niche market for cruise.
So Nicole, today is extremely busy, 5,000 passengers, but this is just one ship. I've seen 3 ships here, 2 tied up, 1 in the harbor. How many passengers like this summer alone have you had come in one day?
So I think our max for one day was just under 10,000. So we're seeing post-COVID a change in the ship sizes. So we will always have our small ships and those niche, under 800 passengers. But then a ship like this is becoming more common. So sort of those smaller and mid-sized ships have changed during COVID. So maybe they're not in operation. So now our region is getting the larger ships. So we're having 2,000 passengers as opposed to a 1,000 passenger vessel. So 2,500 is sort of an average size ship for one ship on a
Well,
day.
things are definitely on the upswing here. There's a lot of positive momentum, and it kind of links in, like you say, with the Atlantic and the St. Lawrence, but really complements what's happening in Halifax. So it's a win-win-win.
It really is.
And thank you so much for giving some of the behind the scenes that some people may not know.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks.
Arrivederci?
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Bye-bye now, ciao.
Welcome back to Cape Breton Connects here on Eastlink Community TV. We've already explored some of the logistics and operations of the Port of Sydney and also the cruise activities and how people move and flow and the opportunities that guests, when they come as passengers, get to experience here in our Cape Breton community. Also, we talked about the retail opportunities that are here. And joining me is long-term businessman Bruce Maloney, the Kilted Moose, but many other business ventures as well. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you here. You've been part of the life of this port for what, 20 years now?
20 years. It's hard to believe. We were here the first night, the day before they're going to open. I remember helping mop the floors. Bernadette McNeil said to me, "You and I mopped floors together that night, the day before they had the big opening here."
So you and your wife Liz have been in business together, a true partnership for 42 years here in the community.
Yeah.
Your family business, I think half a century now, Bruce. Not that we're going to bring up numbers too much, but really you've seen so much happening. Can you explain to the viewers what you've seen, some of the growth and the changes in the cruise activity here in the Port of Sydney?
Oh, well, this was kind of a shot in the dark for us. When they first came, we decided, Liz suggested that maybe we put a little shop down here and put some shoes, and we had a ladies wear store at the time. Maybe we'd get them to go uptown, which would help our business. But we got asked for all kinds of different things, which the next year we were a full-fledged t-shirt, magnet, postcard shop. We were doing everything, and we just never looked back. It's been wonderful for us to be here. And there was all kinds of other different crafters, beautiful shops that were handpicked, I would almost say, by Bernadette, who Bernadette was the key person, I think, behind it when we were designing this and doing it. But it's really paid off well.
So you and Liz, with that experience and linking, and now we see the revitalization, not just the expansion of the Port of Sydney and the cruise terminal, we see downtown being revitalized, as you mentioned, about trying to link for people walking, being able to leave money in the community, but also have experiences and memories that are very positive. But I also know that you can't be in this business, you and Liz, without being ambassadors. You must find yourself that you end up having friendships or connections, especially with social media. Like, how's that evolve over time too?
Well, for this shop, the Cape Breton T-shirt company and the Kilted Moose, I dress like this for cruise ship passengers. It gets them to stop to talk to me. That was the game plan. Then I would direct them into our shop, and I'd send them up to Liz's shoe store uptown. But you make friends with all kinds of people during that. Down here, we're like a family. And this is a cruise and a tourist season. It's a 6-month operation, and it's almost a full 6-month operation, busy, but really hectic in 2 months in September and October.
And have you found that not just cruise focused, that the local community now, that citizens come down to check things out, to shop, buy that gift for friends and family away for seasonal shopping as well?
It has been very good. In the summertime especially, we get a lot more locals. This time of the year we do get locals because they just come down. The other day we had the Queen Mary here, and it was the first time she tied up. We had all kinds of locals around that day just wanting to see what we did here, and we're surprised what we had here. So it's a really great thing. And the part that I really get excited about, and Liz, you'll hear her talk about it, but it's that big school being built down there. It's huge for us, and it will make it even much better down the road for us.
And Bruce is talking about the Nova Scotia Community College with its new campus that's on the waterfront under construction, which will be part of another episode we're doing about the revitalization of the community. And Bruce, one of the things that people may not know, you've been part of an order of the Sou'wester. Can you explain to the viewers what that is entailed? Because it's a great thing that I've been inducted into in the past, so I think it's a memory that is well shared.
Well, the Order of the Sou'wester was not started by me. I was picked by the former captain of it, and it started many years ago by the Ports Day Committee many years ago, as they brought all kinds of people into Sydney to talk about port-related business all over Atlantic Canada. So they wanted something fun, and so they get it fun, where I will induct them into it. I've gone on many cruise ships and inducted the captains and senior crew. It's very fun. Usually when we do it at Ports Day, it was one with dark rum involved, and that was always a little bit of a challenge, but that was fun. We didn't do that on cruise ships because they're zero policy for any kind of liquor. So, but we made it fun, and we induct them and have them get down and kneel, and I knight them. It's a lot of fun. We've done many at Ports Day. I think I've done as many as 46 people in one setting.
So it's really about creating memories, experiences, the camaraderie. So it also shows that the life and vitality of a port goes beyond just profit and business. It gets into the core of people, our culture, the heart and soul of a community, and you and Liz have been part of that, and I want to thank you for joining us today on Cape Breton Connects.
It is my pleasure. I love being here and hope to be here for a few more years.
Thanks again, Bruce.
Okay.
Welcome back to Cape Breton Connects on Eastlink Community TV. We're going to continue our discussion now and get into some of the mechanics of business, and we're going to talk now with Liz Maloney. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you and Bruce have been in this business, as we discussed with Bruce, 42 years. I got to ask, 42 years, married, in business, that alone is a testament to a relationship.
But you know what? We're the best of friends. We love it. That's the way it's been. Our children see how happy we're doing it, working together. I couldn't see it any other way.
And so, aside from that longevity, and also when you look at it as a trailblazer in terms of a woman business leader coming in and someone from First Nations, you've set a lot of standards of moving forward. And have you found that that's ever been a challenge or impediment, or you just been?
No, if it ever happened, I don't recall it, but I would put it right behind me anyway. It's not
that's just
something.
Your confidence.
Yes,
that's everybody just knows you're Liz.
I wouldn't dwell on it.
And so the other thing was, when you talk about being in business and the like, did you find that you were able to leave it at the doorstep of the store, or would business come home?
Well, it depends on the day. If it was a bad day, then yeah, it stayed at the store. But in most cases, it was good. And we took it home, and we sat around the kitchen table with our children, and they learned all about it, and they all worked in the store, so loved it.
Yeah, and so does that mean there's a next generation coming into the business as well?
Right presently, we have our middle daughter, Kate, who's actually taken over the shoe tree.
Oh wow, so in your retail business,
yes,
and so
yes.
Bruce and Liz have a number of businesses, and here in the port as well, but in
Yes.
the downtown of Sydney, which we're going to discuss in another episode
Yes.
of Cape Breton Connects. But when we look at your presence here, I mean, I talked to Bruce about the people you get to meet. You
Yes.
do become an ambassador. Do you
Yes.
find that relationship where you feel a connection to people?
Love it, love it. You know what? I think what it is that we're both people.
Yes.
And so we love it. But the biggest thing about being here, as opposed to in the store, I mean, the store, we loved all of our customers, had regular customer, great customers. But here, everyone is on vacation. So we can't help but smile while we're here because everyone's in a good mood.
So you're getting people from all over the world.
Yes.
And I guess when people are on vacation, even language barriers don't break down the ability to be able to smile and make them feel welcome and share the Cape Breton hospitality.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. I mean, you know, just I'm going to give you one example. One of the things that I sell in my store are aprons, and a lot of them have wine sayings, and everyone comes in and they laugh, you know, and so on. We have so many things in common, so it's, you know, not
And
an
for our
issue.
viewers as well, because we see these big, beautiful ships come in, this one with 5,000 passengers, there's also a lot of staff that come in as well. Do you find that over the years now you've made relationships or friendships or acquaintances with people that are on the ships working, coming back and forth?
Yeah, we actually, and we are, I don't know how many people in here do it, but we also give the crew a discount. So they always, and they know that when the ship is coming in, so they're always happy they come into our store and they shop.
And that relationship to the ship, so you obviously would work with the various cruise lines about relationships to talk about business and work with the actual officials on the ships as well.
Yeah.
So that means you have to have inventory to do all of that.
Yes.
And I've noticed you've got massive inventory of every size you have to have in the people business.
Yeah.
So how does that come about? Do you have to travel? Do you order?
We do.
Can you explain to the viewers how that works for you folks?
What we do, we actually, when we first started, we would go to a trade show and we found the suppliers that we like to work with who are always consistently there for us. And we just maintain the relationship with them, and mostly we've brought it down to just a group that are excellent for us.
And there's all these moving parts, again, that people don't see. They see the pretty displays and the organization,
Yes.
and then you get to work with staff. And I notice you've got these people that are working with you, and they're just happy to be here as well. Many have retired and said, I just don't want to be at home. Do you find that that's an experience that they're enjoying this?
Well, and I have to go back to the staff thing. I prefer a team because that's what we call us, because we're a team. We laugh, we laugh, we have fun, and everyone gets along. So it's, we've been here, Cecil, I think it's been 20 years, and we have people that consistently come back.
Well, it really is about, again, expanding the opportunities for experiences for people to come and to enjoy. But you also are part of a wider community with the vendors that come.
Yes.
With the broader community.
Yes.
You have a business in downtown.
Yes.
And, you know, we'll talk about the revitalization in another episode. But as a business downtown, do you see that changing as well?
I actually, well, for one, what's different for us, there are a lot of millennials, you know, on the street, and they think differently, actually, than we think. We have all these old-fashioned notions of how to do business, and they come up with something new, and it works for them.
And so it's a very exciting time, changing times, but things are growing and expanding, and you're part of that leadership for the community. I want to thank you for joining us today on Cape Breton Connects, Liz.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today as we explored some of the exciting aspects of cruise operations here at the Port of Sydney. We've looked at the infrastructure, the expansion, the operations, the ships, the people, the personnel, and the tourists who come in to experience Cape Breton Island. It's a great opportunity for the community of Sydney, but it's a great opportunity for you as well to come and explore and see the exciting changes From 40,000 cruise visitors now to over 150,000 and counting. It matters to our economy, it matters to our people, and we want to share it with everyone. So thank you for joining me on Eastlink Community TV with Cape Breton Connects.